Hello YouTube, how's it going? Today I'm going to show you how to make a great mechanical gaming keyboard with fantastic linear switches for $40 or even much less than that. Now this project requires a little bit of tinkering, but it's all very simple, so anyone can do it. Here's what you do. Step 1. Get a Dell AT101. This board, also nicknamed the Dell Bigfoot, was given out with a huge amount of computers throughout the 90s. Chances are there's a few lurking around in some storage room in the building you work in, as these can be found just about everywhere where there's old hardware, including old e-cyclers and recycling centers and places like that. If there's none forthcoming, there's always tons in eBay. They're listed for a wide variety of prices, but you should have no trouble finding one for $30 or less. You can get these in various layouts, including American layouts, various European layouts, and even Japanese layouts. You can also get them in black, though those tend to be rarer and more expensive. Honestly, it really shouldn't cost you all that much. All of these put together cost me about £15, and I used to have another 10 or so that I disassembled or just gave away to friends for free. All of them cost me about 50 pence to about £1 a piece. Step 2. Get a key puller. You're going to have to pull the keycaps off the keyboard, and you shouldn't attempt to do this with your bare hands or with a knife or anything like that, because first of all it might not work, and second you might break the stems on the keycaps.
You can go for either a ring puller like this, or wire pullers like this. The latter is easier, but the former is faster. You can get either for £1 shipped from China, so it won't exactly put a hole in your pocket.
Step 3. If you don't have a PS2 port, you're going to need something to make the keyboard speak to your computer.
This is what a PS2 port looks like. Usually there's one for the keyboard and one for the mouse, but sometimes they're combined into a single port. If you don't have one, you're going to need an active converter, not just a $1 adapter like this. What these do is just change the shape of the plug from this to this, while the one you need actually needs to translate what's being said. You can find many of these on eBay, just make sure the description says it's an active converter. Some look like blue cubes, which work, but those can get a bit in the way, and others look like this. There are non-active versions of these too though, so check first.
Step 4. Once you've got all your stuff, pull all the keycaps.
To do this with the ring puller, just put it in, click it in place, and then pull straight up, like that. You can pull them up pretty easily like this, but the pullers might wear out over a while. To do this with the wire pullers, slide it over a key like so, then twist it so that it's there diagonally, and then pull straight up like that. This is more reliable than the ring puller, and although it's a little bit slower, with some practice you can get a lot faster at it.
Step 5. Open the switches.
Fortunately, unlike cherry switches, these can be opened without desoldering and without any complicated tools. There are two ways of doing this. The fastest and easiest way is to use a pair of tweezers to open them, like these. Take a pair and slide the prongs between the two tabs at the front and at the back. That's what's holding the top housing in place. So you have to put the tweezers in deep enough that you separate the tabs enough to get them off the top housing. Like this essentially, and then when it's deep enough, you can pull the top housing off like that. If you're very anal like me and don't want to leave scratch marks on the plastic, you can use toothpicks and cocktail sticks to do it. This takes a bit longer, but it's still quite easy, and you can get really fast at it with some practice. Stick a toothpick between two of the tabs to separate it a little bit, and then use one of the cocktail sticks to separate it even further. Then do the same thing on the other side. And then once it's separated enough, you can just pull off the top housing like that.
Step 6.
Now inside the switch you'll find the following parts. First, the slider, which I'll remove here. The return spring, and then this leaf spring here to the side. This is what provides the tactility in these switches. Just take it out to make a linear switch out of it. These switches, which are called black Alps, get a lot of stick because the tactile feel is rather rough and elongated compared to other switches. If you take out the tactile leaf, you end up with extremely smooth and highly responsive switches.
Step 7.
Optionally, if there is dust in the switches, take out the spring and then use some compressed air to blow the dust out. If you don't want to do that, you can disassemble all the switches first and then hoover the whole board at the same time. However, compressed air is more effective. These keyboards hate dirt and dust, so if there's any inside the switches, it's best to clean it out while you have the switches opened anyway.
Step 8.
When you've taken out all the tactile leaves, it's time to reassemble the switches. First, take the spring and put it in the middle where there's a little raised dot. You can use a cocktail stick like this to guide it towards the middle, like so. Then take the slider, and there's a notch on one of the sides. Make sure that's facing the switch plate, so in this case, that direction. Just put that on, like so. And then take the top housing. Now the top housing should read Alps on one of the sides. Make sure that faces away from the switch plate. So in this case, that should be like this. Just slide it over. And then, if the slider doesn't orientate itself with the hole, just guide it towards the middle, like that, and press down. Voila. Your switch is now linear. These switches are way, way better than Cherry MX Black and Cherry MX Red, which are a lot scratchier and nowhere near as smooth as the ones in the Dell. The Dell ones are also much better weighted, and they actuate higher up, making them more responsive. You can also make them clicky, by the way. But that's maybe for another video, some other time. If the keycaps are filthy, wash them in some warm soapy water, then rinse and dry. Don't use hot water or you'll damage the keycaps.
Step 9.
Then put the keycaps back on and ta-da! Enjoy your new kick-ass linearized Dell Bigfoot. Here's mine. I'll put some relegible keycaps at the top to distinguish them from my other non-linear Dells. They make a nice deep sound too. These boards are very well built and can take a lot more punishment than most modern keyboards, and they look classic, impressive and stylish. If you take it to a LAN party and you lose, you can even bash someone's head in with it.
The only disadvantage of these boards is that they don't have N-key rollover. Now, I've been playing video games on the PC for 25 years, and I've never really needed it. In fact, I think it's just a bit of a marketing trick to squeeze more money out of the gaming community. But if you really must have it, you can use a different board instead of a Dell AT101.
The Northgate OmniKey and Zenith Data Systems ZKB2 both have switches from the same family, and they come with N-key rollover. They're also even heavier, weighing over 2 kilos each. The Zenith even comes with linear switches by default, so you don't have to mod them. Both of these boards are more expensive than the Dell though, and they're not as common, so keep that in mind. I've done in-depth reviews on this Dell, as well as the OmniKey and Zenith before, so if you want, go check them out. Now, a final note on this keyboard. Some people may be wondering how these linear black Alps compare to green Alps. Well, the answer is, the feeling isn't 100% the same, but it is just as smooth. The weighting on these two switches also seems comparable, so they're really not that far off from each other.
Anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and following is a typing demonstration of me typing on the linearized Dell.